Hey everyone, it's Larry here on LC Model Shipbuilding, and in this episode we're continuing on with our Bismarck build. So we're going to be putting our decking down and doing the painting on the the front, basically, superstructure piece. So we're going to do the white stripe and the black stripe up on that. I will tell you that is a challenge to do it in paint. Got it on. I'm pretty happy with it all in all. So I'll show how I did it, and we'll kind of go from there. So thank you very much for tuning in. Let's get started. Okay, so I've been working on popping the little bit of plastic spots off that need to come off before the brass goes on, and mostly it's these porthole covers and what I believe are possibly rafts along the side here. So these all in here, and then all the way up and through here. So I'm using a straight blade. As you can see, I've generally had pretty good success with these. And then I'll just kind of lightly sand it before I put some pieces down as we go. But generally these blades work pretty good on the walls like this. This is pretty much what I used all the way through on Titanic to get everything off on that, and it seemed to work out pretty good. So the good thing I will say about Trumpeter, they use a very soft plastic, I guess that's the best word for it. So it isn't hard to do this, and it comes off fairly smooth for the most part. Like, you'll get some little weird spots here and there that you have to sand back down, but for the most part it's not too bad. I'm not 100% positive these are rafts, but I think they are. I'll have to look in the book. Now, there's a little spot up inside the detail spot there that I'm not going to go for because I don't think I can get that with keeping that wall intact there. So I'm just trying to get as best I can below it, basically. Alright, so I'm going to hit this with a little bit of a sanding and some file work, and see how my deck is coming. So if that's dry, I might start gluing that down. If not, I'm going to drill out these portholes along here. I believe the life rings are in the PE kit, so these might have to come off as well. I want to double check that before I go and cut them off, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing the life rings. So I'll double check, but I'm looking on the directions here and not seeing it so far. These directions are not exactly the best thing I've ever seen. A little less than impressed with them, in all honesty, but we will definitely power through it. So it does look like they come off, so I'm going to just double check and verify that I have them, and then I'll go ahead and take them off and do some sanding. So I'll be back. Okay, so it does look like everything is ready to go with the decking, so I'm going to go ahead and start cutting that out a while. And as you can see, the bow here, this part overlaps on each other, and that kind of creates your swastika emblem into the deck. So right now it can kind of be uncovered, but once we start to put it together, then I'll do a covering. But yeah, working with Scaledecks, I've used these on multiple models that I've built in the past, and I did already spray it down with a varnish, so that is highly recommended to kind of help it resist any kind of dirt or any kind of debris that you end up getting on it as you're going. So I love these decks. They're extremely well done, and I did see on a couple of the different Facebook pages that Scaledecks might not be producing anymore. I don't know if that's true, so a little worried about that for future builds, because they really do a nice job. Okay, so that's our first piece, and what we're going to do then essentially is lay it right over top here, and as you can see, pretty much everything that was down on the deck will poke through nice and easy. It all lines up perfectly. So what we're going to do then is spread some Gorilla wood glue down, and then we're going to clamp it down on top. And I'm just making sure there's nothing that needs to be cut off before I do that. So far everything seems to be pretty solid, so no issue. Yeah, I feel good. Okay, so I'm going to pull it back off and grab a popsicle stick and some glue. Now, you can put it on the bottom of the deck or onto the ship itself. I kind of prefer the bottom of the deck. I've just found in the past that if I go directly on the deck, there's sometimes that it will end up getting really thick globs that I don't need, and you don't really need it to be that thick, because this stuff does set up fairly easy, and it dries really good and hard, so you shouldn't have too many issues with it lifting. I've had decks that I've put on a couple years ago now at this point with this stuff. Never ever had an issue with it lifting. Some of those other brands that I've seen offer a adhesive backing, and just not good. I've had that stuff lift off before, so I just always pretty much recommend doing a Gorilla Glue on the wood. And yeah, just don't go too thick. That's really the biggest secret to this. You need enough, but not too much. Sorry if I'm off camera, it's just hard angles. Probably soon gonna have to get a new bottle of glue, Gorilla Glue. But it's served me well. It's done multiple ships. Another glue I've used in the past on this stuff is Mod Podge. That works pretty well as well. That's almost more of a really thick white glue. Now I'm trying to stay kind of away from those holes a little bit, just so they don't ooze out from underneath on the deck. And the reason I'm doing this now, I know I was working on the other section there, but this stuff has to basically set overnight, so that will let me continue working on the brass for that deck, or for that boathouse, whatever you want to call it, forward section of the superstructure. You know, basically the part that I was working on before this. So I will be coming back to that right after I glue the deck down, but I want to get this done and set up so that it begins drying. And now I'm just going to do one of these and kind of spread it through. Okay, that should be about it. So now we're just going to put it back down on here. Just like we did before. And if anything kind of oozes through, you really want to get that addressed quick, because you won't have a lot of time. So the edges, I always find, are the most difficult part, especially when they come up to a wall like that, so that's why I was kind of focusing on them first. Now the edge of the actual deck over here on the far end will all get clamped down. I'll show you that in a minute, how I do that. But I pretty much do it the same on every build. Now see here we have a little bit of glue oozing through, which may or may not be a bad deal, because I do believe these are the supports for the what do you call it, breakwater. So it's probably not that big of a deal if it oozes through just a little bit. But I'm trying to avoid as much as I can of that. And these little spots that poke up, they're just kind of a pain to make sure the deck is completely adhering. But all in all, it's coming out nice. Now, I've done the sanding down of the deck slats before. I've done it both ways, and I'll be honest, I have not seen a problem with any of my builds lifting up when I haven't sanded. So I am not that concerned that I'm going to have issues. So as you can see, I'm not. But what I like to try to get going as quick as possible is some clamping. So generally, hopefully you can see. Oh, no, you can't. So I put a popsicle stick down, and then generally 2 clamps on that popsicle stick. And I will do that on the pretty much entire perimeter of the ship. And these are those cheap clamps that you get at Harbor Freight or Walmart. They all sell them. That they work really good for this, honestly. Because you also don't want a clamp that is really too firm and damages your deck. And how this fits, this is actually quite nice because they're not requiring, like I've had decks before where you have to almost clamp like all over the place on it, but this is actually sitting quite nicely in most sections. I'm probably going to put one across here as I'm looking at it. But I generally just look for where it's lifting a little bit, and that's where I clamp down. The other thing I recommend, and I know I have in either the train videos or Titanic, I can't remember, is a dehumidifier. You might hear that in the background going. I use that to help dry paint quicker, and glue, like this type of glue. Not super glue, obviously, but this stuff is kind of a more water-based glue. So I won't be able to likely put the front of this deck on right now. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see how it's drying as I go here. But yeah, got one right there that is bothering me. There's a little bubble coming up. So kind of working it down, but I know I'm going to need to put a board there. Not a board, but a clamp there. Now for this one, because of the distance, I am going to have to use a bigger clamp. It just doesn't really give me much of a choice. And then I want another one right there. Just so I don't have to worry about that later on lifting. And more than likely, I'm not going to be able to do the next section of deck. I might be able to, but we'll see. So this has 3 separate sheets to it. Yeah, we might be able to. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do the next section here, and then possibly the fantail if I have enough clamps, because I think I'll get away with these 2 being, yeah, because I can move these 2 over here a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and pause it and get the next section down, and then we'll come back after a bit here. So stay tuned. Okay, so I got my brass on both sides. Turned out pretty nice, honestly. I like it. So now I'm getting ready to figure out my painting, and to do that, this is going to be a little bit complex because you can see it essentially angles up from the stripe down on the bow. So what we're going to have to do is essentially line up where it's at. And yes, I know I got a little spot there I gotta fix, but it should just have a small triangle coming over right here, and then this will be black basically here, and then white will hit here and up in there. So I'm going to tape this off and get ready to paint it. So let me work on that and I'll be back. Okay, so the more I've thought about this as I'm going here, I'm going to build this in like the subsections. So you can see I've got the darker paint here going on, and I'm getting ready to do my stripes up on here. But what I'm thinking, because it's going to be 1, easier to film, 2, easier to maneuver around, and 3, just really less of a risk of me bumping into something. If I build up the whole entire structure, I'll be able to get my paint right better, I think. Right better? I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I'll be able to run my stripe up basically this whole entire section here and basically get that set, and then continue to build up beyond that. Same with the back. So I've been working on the back here. I am going to get the back one done in this video, but I'm not going to build any of the tower structure. I mean, it's not really a tower, it goes on the back part, but the next level. I just want to get the paint work done on it, because this will just have 2 small stripes and it doesn't really have anything going above it aside from here, like right in here. So yeah, I think that's how I'm going to run this. That way, when it comes time to put everything down on the deck, then I can just put the deck together, or put the substructures together on top of the deck, and then do all the detail work on the deck from there. So that's kind of my thought process. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get this taped up to get ready to do the stripe, and I think I'm going to, like I said, do this one as well, so that it's just all together and flush. But yeah, let me go ahead and get all of my brass onto this so I can have this ready, and then I'll get it taped off. So we'll be back. Okay, so I've been kind of test fitting all of the pieces here and all that, getting ready to do the paint, but I got to paint it all gray first, you know, the base gray basically that everything else is, before I go and stripe it out. But the one thing I have noticed in here is the bridge windows. Now, regardless of whether they were blacked out and kind of like a tint going on or not, I'm still going to cut them out because I want to put glass in it regardless. So what I just basically do to cut these, I drilled a hole in them first, so you can see a circle hole there, and then just kind of carve it with a sharp blade until I get my rectangle basically into the shape that it needs to be. And then from the back of it, I kind of recess it the same way, just to make it a little bit thinner here. But like I said, if they're clear windows, which I'll look at the book to determine, I'll get them in, and then I have some leftover instrumentation from the Titanic that I can use basically for back in the bridge there. And if they're blacked out, obviously I'll just kind of black them out, but I want to have the window glass regardless. So just wanted to cover that. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so I'll be honest, this is really annoying to get this taped off, but I'm pretty much now to a point where I'm happy with it. So I'm getting ready to spray the white at least, and then the front half of this goes white as well. So this seems to be about where it should be, just by going by the book and pictures. But yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. So the good thing is right here where it was the most challenging because of how it kind of bows, or it angles here where it dips in like that, there is a gun turret there, so that at least will kind of hide any of my hopeful mistake. But I think I got it pretty close at this point. So yeah, I'm going to tape everything off here, get the white sprayed, and then let that dry, and then we'll do the black. Okay, so I got the white painted and pretty darn happy with how that turned out. So next up we got black that kind of comes along here and ends up right up on here. So I'm going to go ahead and spray that, and then I'll probably put the decking down here and we'll wrap up the video. So let me go ahead and get this taped off. Oh, the one thing, because I did post a couple pictures on Facebook already and I had some questions. So this is essentially how I'm making my line. I'm just basically using a piece of metal bar, and I'm picking my point based on the anatomy of a ship and getting it as close as I possibly can. Now it does kind of taper, and I don't know if you can really tell, but it is wider here than it is up here. And the black also will taper, so it'll be essentially right there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this taped and probably sprayed, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I sprayed these two pieces together, actually three pieces, because this decking piece is on there as well. And then I'll spray this one alone and this one alone, and this one doesn't get any black on it, so that's just going to stay over to the side. I'm going to put a little bit more tape right on here. So I'm going to go ahead and spray these, and then I'll get the tape peeled off, and we'll apply the deck, and that'll be it. So let me get the paint mixed up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this piece of brass here is actually one of the ones I got from eBay. Now this has the flooring that goes on the towers here and here. This does not come with the what do you call it, kit? The MK1, the KA kit, sorry. Lost concentration there. But that essentially just fits right down in there. So I'm going to put a dab of glue down on it, and I just kind of went with like a woodish type color. I don't even know what color this was, but all the pictures I'm seeing, it kind of has kind of a brownish tinge to it, and obviously the pictures I'm looking at are from the book, since I don't think there is any real color pictures of it. But yeah, we're just going to glue that on quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the decking on this piece here. And then we'll basically be about wrapped up after that. And I'll show kind of what our final process here looked like for this video. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how things turned out. It definitely... it came out better than I anticipated about halfway through, because halfway through I was getting a little scared with those lines. So, ooh, if you get this, it's a really tight fit. Just an FYI. It's very tight. And I don't want it to get a bent look either, so just kind of trying to carefully get it down around the edges here. But so far, it does seem like everything is lining up really nice on this piece. So that's quite cool. And that just gives it a little bit better detail than what was molded from Trumpeter. I mean, what was there didn't look bad, but between the two, I think you can see which is better, hopefully. And there we go. So, yeah, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and glue the other one on here, and there you can kind of see striping. Get the wood on, and I'll be back. Okay, so here we go. These are not glued on, they're just kind of sitting here. Obviously, you can see that, but I'm really pretty pleased with how they turned out. Decks look really good. Pretty much everywhere I was going for turned out how I pretty much wanted it to, so can't really complain too much. So that is it. That is pretty much where we're going to wrap this video. Next one, we're going to actually start to probably do some building, but like I said, I wanted to get that stripe going the same way, and at least now, you know, I can get them glued on and doing what we need to be doing. So anyway, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Please give a like and subscribe, and we will see you next time here on LC Model Shipbuilding.